Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be showing you guys how to make homemade fettuccine alfredo. I've been promising you guys a cooking video, so I figured we'd start with my favorite recipe that I'm just going to go through the different ingredients that you guys are going to need. So bear with me and make sure you pay attention because there's a lot of stuff you're going to need. I'm making this from scratch. You guys just watch the video, you'll see how to make it. It's really, really easy. I have everything laid out here, so I'm just going to go through everything one by one. And some of these things are optional and some of these things are mandatory that you have to have. So we're going to go over the things that are mandatory. You definitely need the 3 different types of cheese. Well, you can just use Parmesan or you can use Romano, whatever you feel comfortable with. I use the 3 blend, and it's just Parmesan, ASIAGO, and Romano cheese all mixed together. It comes in one container, so you don't have to spend a lot of money buying all these different cheeses when they're already blended together. And I just put them in this little container. You're going to need a half a stick of butter because you're going to have to make a roux. Anytime you make a white like Alfredo or cheese sauce, you need to make a roux. So to make my roux, I need a half a stick of butter and 4 teaspoons of flour. 2 tablespoons or 4 teaspoons works. It has to be equal parts of butter and flour in order to start the roux. So we're going to get into that once we start making the sauce. You definitely need heavy cream. This is just 1 pint of heavy cream. This would serve about 2 to 3 people. It's only going to be serving 2 of us, so I bought a small one. You can get the bigger one, but that's if you're serving a whole bunch of people, which you probably don't need unless you have a big family. You're also going to need different seasonings. So I have adobo here, which is optional. That's just a Latin seasoning. I just use this for everything, so I love adobo. I use that to season this chicken, actually. You're going to need garlic. You're going to need Italian seasoning and basil. You can also get oregano, which I don't have any of, so whatever. You also are going to need fresh cut garlic. So this is just garlic that I cut up and peeled, which I didn't want to film that because it would have taken forever. Olive oil, of course. We're going to cook the chicken in the olive oil. Also going to need white wine. Now, I bought the just regular cooking white wine, which most people use a vermouth, which they didn't have at the market today, so I just got a white wine. So if you want to use a vermouth wine, that's perfectly fine. It actually is better. The wine you add according to taste, so you don't have to add a lot of it. You can just kind of go at your own pace with the wine. For the chicken, I basically just added all of these seasonings. So adobo, garlic, Italian seasoning, and basil is what I added to the chicken. That's how I season my chicken all the time. I have it over here, olive oil over here in the pan warming up. So we're just going to throw the chicken in there. And I also have some peppers that I doused in olive oil that I'm going to roast to put on top. We have our broccoli, which is optional as well. You don't have to add this, but I like broccoli in my Alfredo, so I'm going to season this and then put that on to boil in a minute. But first, we're going to make our roux and our sauce, just so we can get that out of the way. So I'm going to add the fettuccine to the boiling water over here. Always let your water boil first, and you can add salt or olive oil to your water when you're boiling your pasta. I'm just going to put it all in here and let that cook for a while. I like to start my pasta first because fettuccine noodles take a long time to cook. They take longer than any other noodle from what I've noticed, besides lasagna. Those are the 2 that take a while, so I like to just put that in first. And then I'm going to also pop these in the oven. I already have my oven preheated to 400 degrees, which is kind of high, but I just like it that way. So I'm going to let that roast. Okay, so we're going to start with the roux now. Okay, so it's important when you're making roux to set your stove to low. You want your butter to simmer, so you don't want it to be too high. So I'm just going to put it on 3 basically. I don't know if you guys can see this, but I'm going to put it on 3. And we're going to let the pot heat up. And okay, so we're going to start making our roux. We're going to put the butter, I'm going to peel the butter and drop it in here. You're just gonna let the butter like melt in here. So we're gonna let our butter melt in here in the pot. This is just how you make a roux. I'm gonna sprinkle this all over. Remember, equal parts. Once your roux is all one consistency, meaning the butter and the flour has come together and it's not lumpy, you just want to start adding your heavy cream. So I like to add the heavy cream and mix it together with a whisk. Now I do the whisk technique just to thicken it a little bit, and this is just going to help it be a little more fluffy, and then I just go in with a spoon. So you don't have to use a whisk, you can start off with a spoon. I just like to. Once I let it sit for a little bit and kind of thicken a little, I like to start with the white wine. Now again, the white wine, you go at your own pace. It's just according to taste. You don't have to add a lot of this. I'm going to add about maybe 2 or 3 tablespoons just for flavor, and that's it. Then I'm going to go back in with my whisk and just stir that in and kind of let that come to a simmer, and then we're going to go in and start adding our different seasonings. Going to get into seasoning. I'm going to start using basil. I'm going to use quite a generous amount of basil. I like a lot of seasoning in my Alfredo sauce. You don't have to do this, it's optional. And then I'm going to go in with my Italian seasoning, and then lastly I'm going to add the fresh garlic, and I'm only adding a little bit. I'm not going to add a whole lot because we're actually going to go in with the actual powdered garlic as well. Now I'm adding a little bit of black pepper as well, which I love. And now here comes the fun part. So we're going to get into the cheese now. Again, the cheese is according to taste. Basically, the cheese kind of makes up the flavor, in my opinion, of the sauce. So I like to add as much cheese as possible. And at first I just add a couple handfuls, put it in, I stir it for a little while, let it thicken up with my whisk, and then I'm going to go in once it melts and it all just becomes thicker. I'm going to go in and add some more cheese, because the more cheese the better, in my opinion, when you're making a sauce. What you can do is allow the first couple handfuls to cook and just melt in there and become thick, and then you can just go back and taste it and decide whether you want more cheese or not. For me, I like my Alfredo sauce really cheesy, so I'm going to add more cheese a little bit later. Okay, so we added some more cheese, and now you can see that my sauce is starting to thicken up and look more like Alfredo sauce. It's been cooking for about 25 minutes, and you're just going to want to cook Alfredo sauce. It doesn't take that long. I would say cook it for about 30 minutes, and you basically have your sauce. And remember, keep it on low, don't have it on high. Let it simmer for a while and come to a boil on its own. You don't want to cook it too long, and you don't want to burn the bottom of the pan. So just be careful on the setting of temperature that you have it on. So as you can see, it's getting thicker and it's now starting to become Alfredo sauce, and it tastes amazing. Trust me, I tasted it and I loved it. By far the best Alfredo sauce I think I've ever made. We're going to get started on our chicken now. Let your oil heat up, not too hot. Keep it on about 3 or 4 if you have an electric stove. I keep it on 3 or 4, and I just let it warm up enough to start frying the chicken. Now, I'm going to let it simmer in the olive oil. I'm going to add all of the chicken in right away, and it has been sitting in the different seasonings for, I would say, almost an hour, so the chicken is really flavored really, really well. I used, again, garlic, Italian seasoning, basil, and also just a little bit of salt and pepper, and that's just going to give it a good flavor. So I'm just going to mix it around and allow it to cook all the way through. You want your chicken to cook thoroughly. You don't want any pink showing when you make your chicken. So it's good, in my opinion, to chop it up. I used chicken fingers, like the chicken breast already sliced. And right now I'm adding a little bit of fresh garlic. Now you can add the fresh garlic while the oil is heating up. I don't like to do that because sometimes I just overcook the garlic, so I always add it after I add my chicken. All that really is going to do is just flavor your oil. But my chicken's pretty much marinated in different seasonings, so it didn't really make a difference to me. So I added the fresh garlic a little bit later. So I did forget to tell you guys, when you are making your chicken, add maybe just enough olive oil to coat the pan. You don't want too much olive oil in there. Again, I'm using chicken tenders, so I just cut them up into little squares and threw them in. I'm adding a little bit of mushrooms. This is obviously optional. Everyone does not like mushrooms. I myself don't like them, but my friend does, so he wanted them in there, so I put them in. This is completely optional. Again, you don't have to have them. So I like to add them maybe the 5 to 10 minutes later, after I've been cooking the chicken for a while, the last 5 to 10 minutes of cooking them. I just like to do that because I don't want to overcook the mushrooms, so I kind of let them brown in with the chicken towards the end of me cooking them. Again, you don't have to add them, but I do like them. Actually, once I tasted it, it actually tasted really, really good, so it wasn't too bad. So it's completely up to you guys if you want to add the mushrooms. It just gave it a little bit more of a nice meaty flavor, which was pretty good, so it's completely up to you guys. So now that the chicken has completely browned and you can see that it's cooking and it looks really good, right? The mushrooms are cooking in there with it. I'm just gonna keep, you know, moving it around until the mushrooms are completely done, because the chicken is basically done. But I do like for my chicken to brown a little bit more like this and become a little bit more crispy. I just like that blackened chicken taste and feel with my chicken. Okay, so everything is all done. We have our steamed broccoli over here, our chicken with mushrooms, roasted pepper, our fettuccine over here, and then I just have the Alfredo sauce still on the stove, like just staying warm. I didn't want to turn it off. I left these in for about 25 to 30 minutes just so they could like blacken. And the chicken, you just want it to be like golden brown, so that's really important. You want to cook the chicken all the way through. I threw the mushrooms in towards the end because I didn't want to leave them in the whole time the chicken was cooking, because then they would burn. So we didn't want that to happen, so I put them in towards the end, maybe like the last 10 minutes of the chicken cooking, so that they would cook all the way through. And I just mixed them in with the garlic and seasoning that was kind of already in the olive oil that the chicken was like marinating in. The broccoli, I just basically steamed it in a little bit of olive oil and garlic with salt and pepper. So the pasta noodles, I left them in for about 35 to 40 minutes and I let them cook. I feel like fettuccine noodles just need to cook a little bit longer than any other type of noodle. They're just a lot thicker. So to find out if they're done, I just took one of them and threw them on the wall to see if it stuck. So that's basically it. So right now we're just gonna get it all together. So the first thing I like to do is obviously take my pasta. I don't have tongs, so we're just gonna have to grab this like type of, I don't even know what, I guess this is a pasta spoon. So we're just going to take this, and the noodles are clean. Make sure you rinse your noodles off when you are like done making your pasta. That's very important. So I basically just put them on there, and then the next thing I do is take the sauce, or the Alfredo sauce. I just kind of stir it a little bit, and then we want to pour it on here. You can do this any way you want. Me personally, I just like to kind of pour the sauce on top of the noodles first. And then we're going to just grab whatever you want to put on here. So if you want chicken, grab some chicken, grab some mushrooms, throw it on top. So then we're just going to take some peppers and throw them on top as well. And then we're just going to take a couple pieces of broccoli and kind of just put them around the plate. So this is what your Alfredo should look like. You don't have to add any of these ingredients. You can just have Alfredo and pasta, or you can have the Alfredo sauce with chicken, however you want to do it. This is just what I like in my Alfredo, so I always add these, and then I just sprinkle a little bit of cheese on top. So that's it, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. Yeah, this is my first cooking video, so yeah, if you guys want to see more of these, just let me know by giving this video a thumbs up or comment below. I love to cook, so I don't mind sharing recipes with you guys. It's so much fun to me. So if you guys want to see anything, you have any suggestions, leave all your comments down below this video. So thanks, guys. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.
Hi.
You can't talk. Stop. Stop. You're going to need, obviously, some fettuccine noodles. I bought the Rizzani. Is this Rizzani? Ronzani. Alright, let's try this one more time. Said that wrong. Alright, sorry, we're going to count me in. Oh my, this is optional. I'm going to add broccoli because I love broccoli. Don't laugh.
Sorry.
You're supposed to laugh.
You making bloopers.
This was live. That would be so bad.
Wow.
Seeing the egg cut.